Hello everyone, a very pleasant day to you. Senate President Senator Akpabio explains his decision to withdraw a defamation suit against Senator Natasha. Federal government to review tariffs for industrial growth, lower production costs. A Nigerian army warns public against fake social media accounts impersonating Chief of Army Staff. A very good day to you and welcome to Impact News Hour on Fastness News Port Harcourt. I am Becky Usoro. Another news in full. The President of the Senate, Akpabio, has explained this decision to withdraw a series of defamation suits against Natasha and others, saying the move was guided by faith, moral conviction, and the demands of legislative leadership. Akpabio's position was conveyed in a statement in Abuja on Friday by his special advisor on media and publicity, Eseme Eyibo. The statement described the withdrawal as a conscious departure from a culture where court actions are often used as tools of political combat, noting that the Senate President had previously been firm in defending his reputation through legal means. According to the statement, Akpabio believes that effective leadership of a Senate made up of 109 lawmakers with diverse ambitions requires restraint, credibility, and the ability to rise above prolonged personal disputes. It argued that constant litigation could undermine focus and distract the legislature from its core responsibilities. The Senate President linked his decision to what he described as the need to lead by example, pointing to the relative calm and productivity of the upper chamber under his watch. Away from that story, and a renewed push to strengthen Nigerians' industrial competitiveness and support domestic manufacturing, the federal government has commenced a review of the country's tariff framework to align fiscal policy with the realities facing local producers. This followed a high-level meeting with the Tariffs Review Board and the Minister of State of Finance, Dr. Doris Uzoka Aniti, where existing tariffs were weighed against the backdrop of rising production costs and foreign exchange pressures. The minister stated that the review aimed to reposition tariffs as a tool for economic development rather than a constraint on productivity. The minister stated that the review aimed to reposition tariffs as a tool for economic development rather than a constraint on productivity. The focus, she noted, was on encouraging local production, protecting homegrown industries, and easing the cost of doing business across key manufacturing value chains. Away from that story, the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) and the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has introduced new rules to ensure faster refunds of failed airtime and data purchases, following rising consumer complaints over debits without value. The new framework, in a statement by NCC's Head of Public Affairs, Nina Ukoha, targets unsuccessful transactions linked to network downtime, system failures, and human errors to affect subscribers nationwide. According to the statement, the guideline was developed after months of joint engagement involving telecom operators, banks, value-added service providers, and other industry stakeholders. The NCC said the framework brings the financial and telecommunications sectors up to speed on how failed transactions are handled and resolved. Under the framework, Udo has said mobile network operators and banks are bound by a service level agreement that clearly defines their roles in transaction processing and refunds. She added that refunds are expected to be completed within 30 seconds, except where a transaction remains pending, in which case the resolution can take up to 24 hours. Moving on, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC) has intensified regulatory oversight of the power sector in the third quarter of 2025, issuing 47 orders, approving captive and mini-grid permits, certifying meter service providers, and advancing the transfer of electricity market regulation to states. According to NEC's Q3 2025 quarterly report, the Commission relied heavily on orders to guide licenses, manage tariff adjustments, strengthen grid operations, and implement the evolving structure of Nigeria's electricity market under Electricity Act EA 2023. Under its tariff oversight mandates, NEC issued 3 sets of supplementary orders to the 11 electricity distribution companies discussed in July August and September 2025. According to the Commission, the orders were designed to reflect changes in pass-through indices outside the control of licensees, including inflation, exchange rates movements, available generation capacity and gas prices, for the determination of cost-reflective tariffs. The Commission further noted that pursuant to a federal government policy directive on electricity subsidy, end-user tariffs for July, August and September 2025 were frozen at the rates payable in July 2024, despite the underlying cost reviews carried out during the quarter. Away from that story, the Nigerian Army has warned members of the public against fake social media accounts falsely claimed to be operated by the Chief of Army Staff, QAS, Lieutenant General YD Shaibu. The Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Apollonia Anedi, who disclosed this in a statement in Abuja, says the Army has observed a distributing rise in fraudulent online accounts created by unscrupulous individuals and impersonate the QAS for criminal purposes. She clarified that the Chief of Army Staff does not maintain any official social media account or any platform. According to her, the fake accounts are being used to deceive unsuspecting members of the public, solicit funds, spread misinformation, and commit other fraudulent acts in the name of the COAS, the QAS, and the Nigerian Army. She advised the public to exercise caution and remain vigilant, urging citizens not to engage, respond to, or share content from such accounts. Anale also warned that any request of money or assistance purportedly made in the name of the cause should be treated as a scam, while stressing that unnecessary steps have been taken to identify and apprehend those behind the fake accounts, with a view to prosecuting them in line with extant laws. Moving on, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, has pledged to improve personnel welfare and living conditions as well as enhance naval effectiveness in the Eastern Naval Command. Vice Admiral Abbas, who spoke during a two-day working visit to the Eastern Naval Command Calabar area, says his maiden tour of the command since assuming office formed part of his operational and administrative engagement aimed at strengthening naval effectiveness in the region. The Chief of the Naval Staff, accompanied by principal staff officers from Naval Headquarters, was received by the Flag Officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral C.D. Okehe. The CNS immediately proceeded to the Nigerian Navy Barracks at Timbo, where he commissioned two newly constructed 12-by-1 junior rates permanent accommodation blocks designated Block A and Block B. The commissioning ceremony, witnessed by personnel from sister services and other security agencies, marked a significant milestone in the command's efforts to improve personnel welfare and living conditions, in line with the leadership pillars of the Flag Officer commanding Eastern Naval Command. Away from that story, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has threatened stiffer sanctions on airlines across the country over unnecessary flight delays. NCAA Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Michael Achimugu, issued a threat through a statement posted on his official X handle, argued that the failure to manage information properly, as well as poor passenger handling, has been responsible for the majority of passenger violence at airport terminals across Nigeria. He added that regulations may evolve as challenges take expression and impact the industry, while reiterating that the NCAA is committed to protecting the rights of all stakeholders. However, reviewed to strengthen the authority to enforce compliance for both passengers and operators has to be done. Moving on, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Nyesom Wike, has commended President Bola Tinubu and the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, for the temporary opening of the East-West Road, describing the project as world-class and long overdue. Wike made the remarks during a thank-you visit to Bonny in Rivers State, where he said the completion of the road had always been part of President Tinubu's vision. He stressed that gratitude was essential in leadership, noting that those who benefit from support must always appreciate those who stood by them. According to him, the visit to Bonny was part of efforts to thank the people for their support during the 2023 general elections. Still in Rivers State, The Rivers State House of Assembly has dismissed claims that the ongoing impeachment process against Governor Siminalayi Fubara is influenced by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. The Assembly spokesperson, Enemi George, in an interview insisted that the lawmakers were acting strictly within constitutional provisions and not at the behest of any political figure. Responding to questions on whether Wike played a role in the impeachment move, George said mixing politics with constitutional responsibilities will be dangerous. He stressed that the House should not be reduced to the influence of an individual, describing such claims as unfair and demeaning to the legislature. The Assembly spokesman maintained that the impeachment process is not politically motivated, arguing that the governor allegedly breached several constitutional provisions. He also dismissed allegations of budget padding and claims that legislative duties were stored, stating that such accusations were unfounded. Still in Rivers State, former Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Austin Tam George, has described the fresh impeachment notice against Governor Siminalayi Fubara as dead on arrival, insisting that the move is purely political and lacks any constitutional legal basis. Speaking in an interview with Newsman, Tam George said the impeachment attempt was a reaction to Governor Fubara's recent defection to the All Progressive Congress APC, which he argued threatened the original leverage of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Tam George accused Wike of destabilizing Rivers State and reducing governance to personal control, recalling his own experience serving under the former governor. He argued that the impeachment effort was designed to halt what he described as Governor Fubara's pro-people governance record and growing popularity across the state, while dismissing the legal basis of the impeachment notice, arguing that allegations lack specificity and substance. We now move on to the foreign scene. Russia has used the arsenic ballistic missile and part of a massive overnight strike on Ukraine. 4 people were killed and 25 others injured in Kyiv, where loud booms could be heard for several hours, setting the sky alight with explosions. It's only the second time that Moscow has used arsenic, which was first deployed to hit the central city of Dnipro in November 2024. Russia's defense ministry said the strike was a response to a Ukrainian drone attack on Vladimir Putin's residence in late December, which Kyiv denies carrying out. President Volodymyr Zelensky and Ukrainian authorities confirmed that a ballistic missile has struck infrastructure in Kyiv about 60 kilometers, 40 miles from the Polish border. That's all on the news this hour. From I and the entire team in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, many thanks for watching. Bye for now.